Hello world, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Advanced Wars by Web Grand Strategy Cast. Today, we'll be covering my turn on day 30 of my Asia Grand Strategy campaign. But first, a Wars World news update covering everything that's happened since the last episode. So immediately after my turn on day 29 was, of course, Cobalt Ice, who again is fighting to take back his peninsula. It's a real grind fest, and he's slowly making progress in the ports, but that's the only progress he's actually making. The rest of it is just a meat grinder down into the south. Tak continues to bombard with his battleships, and it looks like consolidate along the line. I need just one more turn to hold out so I can capture these territories, so I need to buy myself as much time as possible. Red again engages with his 3 battleships and his 2 medium tanks. Blue has built a battleship of his own in order to take on Red, but it is not enough at this point in time. Which brings me to my turn. Day 30. So I have a feeling this turn is going to be a good one because I have got 4 properties that I can capture this turn, which I am very excited about. See this property here with 10 points remaining on it, and I just so happen to have an infantry with exactly 10 health here to capture this point. Right on over here, I have another structure with 6 points left on it, and an infantry that just so happens to have exactly 6 points of health. So there's a capture there. Over here, I've got another territory with only 4 points left on it, and an infantry on it with exactly 4 health left. So there is a capture there. And finally, one more capture. So with those 4 property captures this turn, hopefully I will be able to consolidate my lines and have a little bit of a better defensive structure starting next turn, if I can just buy myself that time. So with those 4 properties, it is important to note that that means I have now captured every single property that is within my territory. The only way to capture any further properties would be to either expand into my neighbors or to capture them out at sea from Red. I'm happy with how I'm developed so far. I have a decent income advantage over everybody else, but that does mean that I'm the most likely target if anyone were to turn. And with my land borders really being what they are, I'm not so quite comfortable with them the way that, Red might be. Blue might be with that peninsula if only he didn't have Red on his coast. Or even Blue Moon might be with these territories here. Up here in the north, I see a couple of different options for developing my border here with Cobalt. He's very well distracted with Red still, so this is going to give me time to consolidate. In which case, I will actually move this infantry here, and this tank here on standby. This mech will continue to heal up. This APC will go back here, and I will actually get further repairs on this mech, as well as move this tank here to begin getting repairs on this property here. Continue to consolidate my border up here. Move this full health tank here a little closer to the front. Place this infantry onto this mountain. Move this one tank here for at least 1 turn of healing. I can finally move my rocket into this forest here, which is not the ideal position for it, although it is a decent enough defensive position. If I can get it onto the city, or perhaps even move it around to this forest here, now that would be a very attractive position for a rocket. And again, with all my rockets, I'm only using them defensive in nature. I'm really not trying to place them with range into my enemy's territory. I'm not putting them right on the border of my territory the way he's doing with his artillery. Now, previously, I had actually worked out a deal with Cobalt Ice where I was going to send a lander with an infantry in it to capture one of his ports in order to build a battleship and actually help him fight off Red Fire. Now, unfortunately, one of Red Fire's subs actually took down that lander, so that operation got aborted. But I do now have an infantry, a full health infantry, within this APC, and I am wondering if potentially if Cobalt Ice would still honor that agreement if it resulted in me building a battleship in a way that would help him fight off Red. I think in this case he sees Red as the greater foe, and he might still be willing to go along with it. Let's give that a shot. In the south here, let's keep our infantry advancing, and let's get our black boats into the action. Now, with only 30,000 in gold, after all repairs and everything were taken into consideration, and this one infantry I built, I only have 30,000 to work with, so I do need to be rather careful and be more judicious with the usage of my funds. Especially at this point, this is the maximum economy I'm going to have for quite a while. Hopefully my economy continues to grow at some point in the future, but not anytime soon. So I really do need to start considering the logistics of all my lines and all my territories now, because it's going to become a larger and larger and larger burden as the game goes on. As soon as Cobalt is done with Red, if we get to that point, Cobalt's going to be on my border, and I know that, so I want to be prepared for that ahead of time, and not have to deal with it once it develops. In the center here, I think I just hold for now, and then next turn is when I can really begin to consolidate my lines. I can move these infantry off these properties and start having actual tanks repairing on them, and I'll be able to get my rocket artillery into position to start engaging the enemy if that's what it comes to. So I think the best way to consolidate my lines here in the middle might be to do this. Get a repair there. Move the 10 mech in. Pull that back for repairs. Put a new tank right on the line to hold the line against blue. Now against an 8 health mech, an 8 health medium tank, and an artillery piece, I don't think this tank would be able to hold out, for very long. But it is nice to have some repairs going on and a full health unit on the line. I'm beginning to develop this line already, and hopefully we'll really get to see that come together next turn. I feel like now that my opponent has 3 mechs again and the ability for even more, this point in the middle here is going to become another weak point in my line. With just a couple infantry covering against mechs, mechs are a better unit than infantry at the end of the day. So what I will do is I will have these guys kind of wait out in the river as pickets. I will put you here, and I will have a 10 health infantry holding that center junction right there. And then I will just need to have more and more infantry up on the line. If I can have 2 infantry units for every mech unit he's trying to push with, and if he has to waste a rocket artillery firing on a single low health infantry, then that infantry will have, it will bought us a little bit of time, and it will have earned its worth just doing that. I'll move this guy here to better establish that border with Cobalt. I'll move this guy here to do the same, and then this guy here to do the same. I like using this APC for holding down this comm tower for now. I don't want it to be within reach of Sammy, certainly not while she's got her victory march, so I do not want to leave that unaccompanied. But for now, there's no mechs in the area, and vehicles cannot cross rivers, so I know that an infantry unit or 2 is not going to take out this APC in a single turn. So this will really give me a little bit more comfort in holding this comm tower. Meanwhile, I'll move this tank right over here. This will put me in better striking range of just about anything, should anyone try anything. It's always good to have another full health tank at the front. So I think that blue has actually identified that this is the weak point in my line. If you remember, that's where he threw all those mechs at me before, was right along here. Now, mechs are better than infantry. Not only do they have a rocket, but I do believe they are actually better in combat against infantry than just regular infantry. And, they aren't slowed by terrain, so they're perfect for crossing these rivers. So that's where he concentrated a lot of his forces last time. You see, now he's building up more mechs again, probably, with the same sort of thing in mind. He's got this city here, which is a good staging area for him. And you see, he's actually snuck up this medium tank and is getting it closer to me up here. Now, if I can get my rockets in position, I won't be quite so afraid of a medium tank. But this turn, it is kind of spooky that he's getting so close to me with this and this other medium tank over here, which is, of course, right on the line. I think I'm going to shift my focus a little bit towards the center here now. That's where a lot of my attention is going to go as we kind of consolidate around this point. You see, the infrastructure and the geography in this area does not benefit me. I've got this river I've got to cross. I've got these mountains that are in the way of everything. I don't really have a way to get units into this area. I have one factory here, and that's it. So I think what my strategy is going to be is I'm going to start building mechs out of this factory here. These mechs will then go and reinforce this mountain range here, because that will give me a good backstop. If he does attack me and his armor gets through to the mountain range, I will have a bunch of mechs within here that can engage it. I can also use these cities back here, which are kind of far away from the front and difficult for any of my units to actually get to. But if my mechs do get damaged and I can cycle them out, then I can pull them back here to heal up and repair. I can reinforce this section here with infantry from this factory. These squares here, this territory and beyond, are 3 turns away from this factory. But if I can just keep a constant and steady stream of infantry coming, that should be able to plug the line surely enough. And the more I can consolidate my lines, the better off I will be. Alright, zoom in. Check this out, right? You see this border? You see all this infantry here? Let's take a step back and join. Wham, 10. Okay, well, what about you? Why don't you come in here and just wait? Let's be all friendly. Let's not even capture, let's just wait. But you join there. Bam, another 10. Right? Now, why don't you come here, and again, we will play nice, but you join the party there. Bam, that's another 10. You come in here, you say hello, and you come right up to the front, and you stand right in front of that tank, Tiananmen Square style, and you say, you will not come any closer. And you halt him in his tracks. You actually come and plug that gap there. And you come and step in right here. You take just one step back and wait there. Now you hold that property. Now why don't you come over here for a turn and just plug this gap, just for the sake of it. That opens up this forest for you to come forward and wait right there. Beautiful. So at this point, I will just continue to hold the line all the way up through here. I think I will move this mech back. As insignificant as it might seem, I'm going to start gathering some repairs on it here, and then I'll cycle it back forward to this mountain range. I'm really debating whether I should move these 4 health infantry forward like this to act as basically another form of a blade of armor that would buy me one more turn. It's a slightly more aggressive stance, and these guys wouldn't stand up to much of a fight. But it does claim another 2 squares of territory for myself, essentially. And then if Blue Moon wants to attack in on me, he's got to attack in on along these 0-star roads. The only downside is that it will actually put me directly adjacent to one of his properties. So if he does choose to attack my infantry, he'll be attacking from a position of leverage. Although these 4 health infantry aren't really worth worrying about losing. So I think it's worth it just to kind of hold here. And I will continue to hold along the line. Good coverage on this rocket. It's a bummer that it's down to 8 health, but I will hold it here. Down in the south, you hold here. Let's get these infantry forward. Perfect, just like that. You continue to hold here, one more turn for repairs. Okay, so I think this is where my fleet is going to begin to set out to sea, to hopefully grab some territory from Red, hopefully increase my income stream just a little bit, and give us all something to focus on other than, well, attacking each other, fighting amongst ourselves. We can all focus in on Red. I think it's pretty effective that Red is obviously the odd man out of all the three of us, so it's very easy to get all the attention focused on him, especially with how aggressive he's been and how close he is to capturing Cobalt's capital. Cobalt is kind of almost in a hostage situation. He just has to fight to survive, so he really doesn't want to do anything with the rest of us. And Blue Moon sees that if Red starts to win and take over, well, he's not going to benefit from Cobalt's loss really in any real way. He's not going to get a lot of territory out of it. And now he's going to be the odd man out, sandwiched between me and Red. So my defensive network of rockets... Oh, that'd be a one-hit kill. Perfect. But they will hold for now. Again, I've only used them defensively. I can claim that with absolute honesty. I've only used them defensively. And now it is time for the fleet to set out. So my cruiser and my sub will line up to head out first. I do, of course, need to repair these battleships up, and I will, without hesitation, do that on these 2 ports now, because that is absolutely something I need to do before I head out to sea. But that will be just one more reminder to Blue Moon not to mess with me, because, well, I do have battleships right here, right now. Those will be healed up next turn, and then we can set out. I'll also have my black boat, and hopefully we can turn this into a real magical convoy. So those are all my orders, but now I need to figure out production. I've got exactly 30,000 gold to work with, and of course I would like to keep a small cash cushion to go into the next turn, so let's see exactly what we can work out. If I wanted to go on with my idea of building a mech here and reinforcing with an infantry here, that would be 4,000 gold accounted for. I've complained a lot about how I do not have the greatest infrastructure or geography on my part of the map. However, one place that is not actually the case is right down here in the south. I do have these sections with factories, properties, and roads all along them, which is wonderful. It has been kind of like the one thing that's made it easier to deal with the property down here while I've moved northwards. So I think maybe the best way to take advantage of that would be to put another rocket right here, which would then give me coverage out to here. Now I did make an agreement with Blue Moon that I wouldn't put any rockets within range of his factory. So right here would just about do that. Meanwhile, I've got a tank and a medium tank holding the line right in front of it. Now, as Lash, I would like to have my rockets on terrain that gives defensive bonuses because of Lash's day-to-day ability. But I think in this case, even without any sort of offensive or defensive bonus, having a rocket here, giving me coverage out to here, would really kind of deter any sort of Blue Moon attack from happening. And even if Drake uses a Typhoon or something like that, I have these roads where I can just come right back to this property here to heal up, which is very important. Now this property is going to be important in healing up other units as well, but hopefully I'll have a turn every now and then to put a rocket on there if I have to, and then I can just go back and forth utilizing these roads here, which is not something I can really do anywhere else. If I wanted to place a rocket up here, I mean, there's no roads around here. It would take forever to get here, and then it would be stuck here forever. Whereas in the south, I actually can go from property to property using these roads, even in the rain. If I do 4,000 and then another 15,000 on a rocket, that's going to be 19,000. That would leave me with 11,000 remaining. So I don't want to spread myself too thin here, focusing on too many different things. But I think if I budget it correctly, I will have just enough for a rocket, a mech, and infantry to back up that mech, one tank, and then infantry on all my other properties. So if I've budgeted everything correctly, I should have just enough for a rocket on this property that I can then bring up to the front, a mech on this property that I can then use to defend this ridgeline, and infantry here that I can then use to reinforce this area with a constant stream of reinforcements. A tank here to help me secure the middle section, and infantry on my remaining properties. So that is everything for me, and I will end my turn. So that is going to do it for day 30. So thank you so much for watching. If you're a subscriber, thanks for coming back. If you're a first-time watcher, well, I really hope you enjoyed it. Consider subscribing maybe if you want to see more of this. And leave a like or maybe even a comment about what you thought about the match. And check out these recommended videos for other Advanced Wars by Web and strategy gaming videos. Alright, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.